Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Talent Tap podcast. My name is Danny Lachmandas, your host and founder of Printalo. We help businesses generate consistent qualified client opportunities through an AI-powered growth engine. And with us today, we have Julia Arpag, founder and CEO of Aligned Recruitment. How are you doing today, Julia?
Great, Danny. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, it's great having you on. Where are you calling in from today?
I'm calling in from beautiful Atlanta, Georgia. Love it here.
Amazing. I'm in Nashville, Tennessee, so not too far away, probably just like a
Not too
4 hour
far.
drive.
Yeah, not too bad at all. I've been to Nashville. It's an awesome city.
It's a fun time. I grew up here, so it's home for me. I lived in Colorado a little bit, lived in Kentucky a little bit, but mostly in
Mm,
Tennessee.
awesome.
But yeah, could you share a little bit about your professional journey, kind of how you started out and how you got to where you are today and what you're doing today in the business?
Yes, I would love to. So, like you mentioned, I'm the CEO and founder here at Aligned Recruitment. We are a tech recruitment firm. We've been in business for 2.5 years. It has been an amazing journey. I'm so thankful to get to do this. I actually started in recruitment about 10 years ago, and I got into it by way of being a college recruiter, actually. So, I was recruiting 17-year-olds to come to a school in upstate New York, which is where I'm from. So, I did that for about 3 years, and then my husband and I moved down to Atlanta for his job. So that's when I started my corporate recruitment career. So I got a job at a national nonprofit based here in Midtown Atlanta, worked there for about a year, then moved into agency, which I love so much more. It's just more fast paced. You get to work directly with clients, help a lot of different companies scale their teams. So I did that for about 5 years between two different companies. And when the last company I was at essentially shut their doors. This was back in 2023. Gave me a call when I was 5 weeks postpartum. The CEO was super apologetic, but he was like, I'm so sorry. The money's gone. The clients are gone. We've laid everyone off. You're the last one. I'd love to keep you. I know you're 5 weeks postpartum, so this is super awkward. It was actually the kick out of the nest I needed because I'd been thinking about starting my own business for several years at that point, but I hadn't yet just because it was terrifying, right? Like all the same reasons I think a lot of people don't start their own businesses. And I did actually get six different job offers within 2 weeks of being laid off. But ultimately, I decided to start my own firm. And it's been an amazing opportunity. I've loved getting to do it. So, very, very grateful for this path.
But yeah, that's a big step. Not everyone is able to do that. There's a lot of challenges from financial challenges to the uncertainty of starting your own business, and not everyone is built for that. A lot of people are good employees. They're good at having a job. They can climb the corporate ladder, but it's a whole nother thing to step out on your own and start your own business. So that's a big thing. I commend you for that. It's not something everyone can do for sure.
I appreciate that. Yeah, obviously my job is recruiting people to go work in W-2 jobs. So there's definitely a
Yeah.
place for that, right? I think you're totally right. I think it comes down to your temperament, your interest, your opportunities that are available to you, and your personality. I mean, no matter what your actual company does and no matter what your actual job is, you have to be in sales. If you're going to start a
Yeah.
business, literally that is your number one job is you're the seller.
Yeah, and that's a big thing. Most people, I would not everyone, but a majority of people that start their own businesses, not just in staffing and recruiting, but business in general, have a background in sales, whether it's cars. And I know a lot of people are in car sales that start their own business that I know personally. That's just one example, but yeah, sales is just something you have to do with any business in general, for
Mhm,
sure.
mhm, and it's funny because 'cause I'd actually literally never worked in sales a day of my life before I started the business. I had only done recruitment. Like, I had never had to go get my own clients. I just recruited on them once they were there. So that was a crazy learning curve for me. So I will say a word of encouragement to anyone listening to this. It is learnable. Like, you don't have to have been a salesperson to start your own business, but it is definitely a skill that you have to learn.
Yeah, it's just all about being an open book and be willing to learn. So many people in life are just closed books to say they don't want to learn, they don't like learning new things, and that's just something you have to do as a business owner. You have to be open to new ideas and innovating, right? Just changing on the fly. You have to adapt to what's happening in the world all the time and be willing to learn, right? So that's
Yes,
definitely a big thing.
one of my absolute favorite quotes is from Zig Ziglar. He says, "If you refuse to learn, no one can help you. If you are determined to learn, no one can stop you." So that is so encouraging to me because if I ever do come up to a point in my business where I'm like, shoot, I don't know what to do next, or I don't know how to do this, I'm like, well, I can learn. So I'm going to be able to figure it out.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. It's definitely just part of the whole business aspect of being a business owner. But in your experience, What do you see as some of the biggest challenges or opportunities currently in staffing and recruiting right now?
That is such a good question. I think all of us are wrestling with what do we automate and what do we keep manual? Because
Um,
obviously, recruitment is a people business. So you have to have the personal connection with your clients and with your candidates. Because if you lose that personal connection, you're going to lose the business. But you don't want your recruiters spinning their wheels, spending time on things that really should be automated. So I would say that's the biggest question. That's something that we wrestle with every day. That's something that we've implemented a lot of AI tools. Like we have AI tools that record calls, that create notes from calls, that help us schedule meetings more quickly, that help us do follow-ups more quickly, help us write emails, help us write LinkedIn posts. So lots of fantastic manual work that's been automated with AI. And that's really freed us up to spend more time with clients and candidates. But I think that's probably the biggest question for everyone who works in staffing and recruiting right now.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing I've seen with AI. It's making businesses more time efficient, right? If you can automate those tasks that you don't have to spend those hours of time on, then you can focus on the business development side and getting clients, which was what grows your business ultimately, right? So
Hmm.
the biggest thing I've seen is saving time, and time is the biggest commodity in life that we have. If we can save some of that, then we can focus on other things, whether it's business or if some people just want to spend more time with their family, right? Then it helps you
Hmm.
do that. Saving time in any way is a huge thing right now.
Exactly.
Are there any emerging trends or shifts in your industry that you find particularly exciting? Maybe not with the AI, but just in general?
Yeah, so we work in tech specifically. So all of our clients are tech startups or tech services firms. And something I think is always super exciting. We talked about sales earlier. That is one role that, yes, AI helps, but it's similar to recruitment and that it's a people business. Ultimately, people buy from people who they trust, who they like, who they think actually understand them and want to solve their problems. Another Zig Ziglar quote I love is that we're here to serve, we're not here to sell. So, what I love doing is recruiting for those tech sales jobs. That's a lot of what my team does for the tech startups that we work with. And a big reason I love it is, like you said, what's emerging. I would say I'm more interested in what's staying the same, which is that top sellers are always going to be a hot commodity. Like, I've been recruiting, like I said, for years. And this has always been basically it's an evergreen role because companies only exist if they make money. It does not matter how good their product is. It does not matter how good their ops team is. If they don't have someone incredible actually closing deals and bringing in revenue, they will cease to exist as a business. So that just remains one of my favorite roles to recruit and probably the most common role that we have companies come to us to help them recruit.
Yeah. No, that's good that you're really good at it and you have such an extensive background in it, which is why you started the business and you're so good at what you do. And it also, I'm sure when you are successful in recruiting, it makes you feel good, I guess is the word, to actually be able to help someone. I know in sales in general, when a client leaves happy, that gives you some sort of satisfaction and a bit of happiness that you're good at what you're doing and you're actually able to help someone. I know I feel good when I have a customer come back to me really happy and they're like, "Oh, I love what you did for me," or "I love this product." It makes you feel good and it gives you that confidence boost to really keep going, right? And keep moving forward.
Well, what I really love about my field is that I literally change people's lives for a living. Like that is my
Yeah.
actual job description, right? Is to
Yeah.
make sure that a leader has an amazing team so that they can focus on what they need to do because their team is doing what they need to do. And I get to help people get amazing new jobs. Like it's I can't believe I get paid to do this. It's such a pleasure. So yes, you're right. It feels very good to be good at what I do, but it feels really good that the thing I'm good at is a thing that directly impacts people's quality of life for years to come.
Yeah, and everyone says if you love your job, that's the best job you can have, and it's good to be passionate about what you do. I do quite a few different things, but if I had a passion for anything in specific, it would be fireworks. I sell fireworks seasonally every summer. I've done it
Mhm.
my whole life, so I love doing fireworks. I love selling fireworks, so it's nice to be able
That's
to do that.
amazing.
It's nice to be able to do that for a few weeks every single summer, and I really enjoy it. It's just
I
something
love
about
that,
me.
Danny. Yeah, we actually go up to New York every summer to spend the summer on Canandaigua Lake with my in-laws, and my father-in-law does a massive fireworks show every single year for the 4th of July, so I believe it, like, it's you're creating so much fun in people's summer,
Mhm.
so I totally get why you love that, that's so cool.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. It's a good time. Like I said, been doing it my whole life. But What's a topic or idea that you're particularly passionate about right now that you think more people should be discussing?
Well, that's a great question. Well, I love what you said earlier about the real ROI of AI is time. Like we're having more control over our time than ever before. So, what I am super passionate about is not just filling that time with more stuff, but filling that time with more intentionality. Now that we have more freedom and more autonomy than we've ever had historically in the history of human existence, we have more freedom to choose not to get sucked into the hurry, not to get sucked into endless doom scrolling, not to get sucked into thinking that the finish line, the goalpost has to keep moving. We can choose contentment as business owners, as people, as parents, spouses, CEOs, whatever our role is. Yes, set goals, but I think protecting our time as our most valuable asset is something I wish more people were leaning into and taking advantage of.
Yeah, I agree. And I believe the world is becoming really aware of what AI is doing, especially businesses. But even when you go on like social media and there's an AI post or a post about AI, the comments are filled with just hate for it. So many people are still really against it. And I think that maybe the people that aren't open minded or aren't open and willing to learn, right? Because there's a lot of people that are like that. And
Yeah, I totally get that.
I think as we go forward, the world will become more accepting. It's kind of how the internet was in the 90s, early 2000s. Like it was 100% there and it was there to stay, but everyone was still a little apprehensive about it. I think we're right here in the 90s of the internet for the AI right now. There's no telling where we're going to be in 5 years or even 10 years from now.
Mhm, mhm. That's a good call out. And it's funny when people paint AI with such broad strokes. Like it is such a vast field. Like you said, like the internet is massive. Like you can't just
Yeah.
say one statement about the internet and have that just be applicable to every single corner of it. So I think AI is the same way. There are so many use cases for it. We actually have Atlanta AI Week coming up here in about a month. I got to go speak at it last year. I'm speaking at it again this year, just about this concept of it's a gift. Like it's like anything else in the world. It really comes down to your use case. It really comes down to making sure you're optimizing it for you and whatever your why is, whatever's driving you in your business, and then just make it work for you.
Yeah, and a big thing is just knowing how to use it correctly. I heard
Mhm.
someone say the other day, I'm not scared of AI replacing my job. I'm scared of someone that is trained on how to use AI replacing my job. And I
Mhm.
think going forward, a lot of businesses are going to be looking for people that know how to use AI effectively, and those will be the jobs emerging in the next 3 to 5 years. So
Mhm.
I encourage anyone that's apprehensive about learning about AI, just do it. You know, take a course or just sit on the internet and try and learn and play around with some
Mhm.
AI tools because I think those are the jobs that are going to be emerging. A lot of people are struggling to find jobs right now, and maybe they need to try something new,
Mhm.
which could be with AI and kind of what's happening in the world.
Mhm.
Are there any common misconceptions or fears about AI that you frequently encounter, and how do you address them?
Well, I think what's funny is pretty much everyone's using AI now. Basically, everyone's on ChatGPT or Claude or something like that. It's basically replaced Google, at least in my life, where if I have a question, I'm not going to go Google it. I'm going to go ChatGPT it. So I think most people are using it, right? Like they just are using it kind of at its most basic level, and a little bit nervous, like we were talking about the bigger implications of what it could do, what it could automate, what it won't automate. And honestly, I think a lot of issues I see, because we do recruit for some enterprise level companies. So I think their frustration with AI is that they know it's going to help them, they know it's going to move their workflow faster, but the implementation process is so hard and the research process is so hard. Like there are so many new AI startups right now that it's hard to separate who's actually good and what tools are actually effective and best for your use case and what's just noise. Like who's just really good at marketing, but is not actually good at getting a product in your hands that's actually going to help move you forward.
Yeah, it's all about finding out what works for you. Because, like you said, there are so many tools, and there are tools being built every single day. I mean, there's so many AI startups, and it's a lot to handle, and can be overwhelming for some people or some businesses, especially some businesses that haven't really looked into AI too much. The ones that are a little confused on what to do. It might be hard for them to really pick and choose what AI startup to use or what tool to use. But something
Mhm.
you said was part of my next question. You mentioned Google and ChatGPT. Are there any things that you still go to Google for specifically instead of ChatGPT when looking something up?
That's a good question. You know, what I do like about Google is that it immediately has the links, whereas ChatGPT,
Yeah.
you have to be like, "Send me the link." So, it's like a separate step.
Hmm.
So, if I just want a list of restaurants, I'm like, "Hey, what are all the restaurants in" I live in the Peachtree City area right outside Atlanta. So, I'll be like, "Hey, what are all the best restaurants in Peachtree City that I should go to this Friday night?" Typically, honestly, what I'll do is I'll ask ChatGPT for the list, and then it'll give me the list, and I'll be like, "Oh, I want that one." So then I'll go to Google and I'll pull it up on Google. But no, I mean, if Google was gone tomorrow, I really wouldn't miss it. Okay, let me clarify. I would really miss Google Maps. I have a horrible sense of
Hmm.
direction. So the moment
Yeah.
ChatGPT has a map feature, game over.
Yeah, I was actually gonna say would have the exact same answer as you. I typically go
Mhm.
to Google still for restaurants specifically. If I'm looking up
Mhm.
a new restaurant or something, I'll still go to Google and, find the address, look at the ratings and all
Mhm.
that stuff. But for most other things, I've moved over to ChatGPT or Gemini. Gemini is a big one that's people are saying they like a lot more than ChatGPT these days. And I think Apple is
Good.
integrating Gemini from what I've heard. I'm not sure if that's true. Someone may need to fact check me. I've heard Apple iPhone is integrating Gemini. We'll see if that happens because that's interesting considering they're a direct competitor of Apple.
Mhm. Mhm.
What is one of the biggest hurdles companies face when trying to integrate AI into their existing workflows? Maybe an example of hurdle y'all have had to face with implementing AI.
Oh, that's a really interesting question. We're fortunate because we're a really small company. So we can be super nimble. Like if we want to test something, we just test it.
Yeah.
Like, for example, my director of recruitment came to me with an email tool, Fixer AI, and she was like, "Hey, I did some research. Looks like this could really help with my email process. It would save templates. It would automatically send templates. Would this be something I could trial?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, no problem. Like, easy, done." If you're at an enterprise where there's a billion in annual revenue, there are hundreds of people across every single org, then it's a little bit harder. Like, you can't just give someone a tool that you don't roll out to the whole team. So I think those companies, the ones that are at the enterprise level, are having the hardest time with this because any AI tool they bring on board is going to be a massive increase in spend for them. So they've got to do a lot of those ROI calculations to see if this is going to make sense for them to invest in this or not.
Yeah, and I think ROI is the bottom line for most businesses. A lot of times, if
Mhm.
that doesn't make sense, then the tool will not just make sense for them, or they won't use that tool.
Mhm.
So that is what I've found. Being in the AI business is what businesses mainly focus on is the ROI for sure.
As they should. I mean, ROI should be your
Yeah,
driving decision maker in every single thing you do as a business, right? Like I said
agreed.
earlier about sales, if you're not making money, you cease to exist. So if you're spending your money on tools that are actually not driving your revenue forward, they are not tools that should be in your business.
Yeah, and the best thing about the world today also is if you have the chance to test something, as long as a company or a tool doesn't lock you into a long-term contract, then you can do a test for a month or two and not do the huge spend. And if it doesn't work, you can cancel that subscription or cancel that before you end up losing too much money seeing the ROI is not there. So that's
Yeah,
definitely a good
exactly.
thing. And a thing I like about the month-to-month subscription model, being able to cancel that when you want to. So you're not locked into a long-term contract and spending so much money.
Yeah, totally agreed.
What role do you believe the human intuition and expertise play alongside AI in decision making?
That's a good question. I think a human trait that is not going to be replaced by AI is empathy. AI cannot have an actual emotional, personal interaction with a human. That's not possible. So where I think humans are always going to have a competitive advantage and are always going to need to partner with AI to be as effective as possible is in our ability to truly care about another person, to ask questions and actually want to hear the answer, not just hear ourselves speak when they're done speaking, to actually be invested in someone else's outcomes, to actually be able to relate to someone else's situation. I think those are all incredible gifts we have as humans that are going to allow us, yes, to use AI effectively, but also to make sure that we're not putting too much stake in AI and forgetting what we bring to the table that's super unique and super special as humans.
Yeah, the empathy thing is definitely something that I've noticed. I mean, I do believe the human touch is very much needed, especially in the staffing and recruiting industry where it's such a high touch industry. But just an
Mhm.
example of the empathy thing. I have a Tesla. I got it not too long ago, and a couple years ago, the full self-driving was working, but the biggest thing that I noticed was it wouldn't like if someone needed to change a lane, it wasn't going to let them in, or if someone was getting on the highway, it didn't have that empathy that a human might have to slow down and let them in. And I was like, oh, a human would have done that, but I mean, this car is not doing it. And now it's much better. It's actually amazing. It does
Mm,
everything you need it to do. But that definitely is one of the things that I noticed early on with the empathy side, that the car was not, it didn't have that empathy that a human would have. But it's
mhm,
something simple like just letting someone in that needs to change a lane or merge onto a highway. So definitely interesting that you mentioned that because I can relate to that
mhm,
specifically.
mhm. Yeah.
Do you believe that AI will create more jobs than it displaces, or vice versa?
Create 100%. This is just
Yeah,
another industrial revolution. We've seen
yeah,
several of these over the years, right? Where everyone freaked out because there was suddenly a machine to do what ox pulling a cart had done previously, or
uh-huh.
horses were replaced by automobiles, right? Like it's just going to create different jobs. Like I could not be more excited about people no longer having to do these manual, redundant, mundane tasks. I think it is in our best interest to automate lower level tasks so that we are freed up for more interesting, cerebral, empathetic, high level work. I think that will lead to everyone's greatest good.
Yeah, and it also it saves businesses and companies money on employee expenditure. I know it, businesses losing jobs, that's what a lot of people losing jobs, that's a lot of what people are talking about these days is I'm losing my job to AI, or AI can do something that, five employees can do. But it goes back to maybe a lot of the people need to start learning about AI and looking for jobs in that field because that is 100% what's going to be emerging in the next 3 to 5 years.
And this just opens them up to go look for new opportunities, maybe start their own business, right? Like there's so much. I firmly believe that a layoff is not the end of the story. It's the beginning of a new one.
Yeah, agree. Again, it goes back to what we said in the beginning about being open-minded and willing to learn.
Mhm.
Just part of life.
Mhm.
Do you have a favorite AI tool or technology you've discovered, and why? Maybe not even in business, but a favorite AI tool that you use the most.
Good question. Two come to mind. So my favorite tool at my business is Fireflies. It is an AI recording and note-taking tool. So obviously a lot of my day as a recruiter is spent on calls. So it's very helpful for me and my team to be able to reference back to those transcripts, to those notes, to those recordings. That's been huge for us. And personally, so we just sprang for the business membership with ChatGPT. And that has honestly
Nice.
been invaluable to us. So another part of my business is I do coaching for recruitment
Nice.
founders. And right now we're building a coaching course. So ChatGPT is so helpful for ideation, for formatting. Like I come with my
Uh-huh.
like brainstorm draft and then ChatGPT really helps me make it succinct, helps me figure out like, okay, how do I actually make this happen on my Squarespace website? So it's basically like having a VA, I would say, is what ChatGPT is really able to do. Those have been two use cases recently that have been super helpful.
Yeah, and I would say the same with ChatGPT. I use it for, I mean, I have a million ideas in my head, business ideas, and ChatGPT can kind of help you narrow that down on if it's a good idea and the steps it actually takes to implement it and cost and everything. So yeah, just saving so much time where I wouldn't have to even, you're searching through Google and the internet for all this stuff. ChatGPT
Mhm.
has it right there. People have no excuse to not have knowledge these days. There's absolutely no excuse to not know something because it's
Mhm.
so easy. It's so easy to just to have it right there at your fingertips.
Mhm. Agreed.
But yeah, just to close this out, what is the future plans of Aligned Recruitment, and where do you see or where do you want to see yourselves in the next 3 to 5 years?
That's a great question, Danny. So, candidly, we have already been approached about acquisition. We've had several companies asked basically what's our price, what would it take to acquire us. We're not ready for that conversation yet just because I know we have a lot more potential. We have a lot more gas in the tank. We have a lot bigger growth plans planned for the whole team. So very grateful for where we are. And I just know that we're going to keep getting bigger, better at what we do, better at serving our clients, better at serving our candidates, better at scaling our own team, using both AI and humans, like we're talking about.
Uh-huh.
And so I would say for the next 3 to 5 years, I'm just so excited to keep scaling.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. That that you want to keep growing. Some people would just exit, and that's a lot of things that's one thing that a lot of businesses don't think about when they start. They think about starting the business and growing it, but most people don't think about an exit, right? So it's actually amazing that someone has already come to you with that. It shows that you've done an amazing job with the business, and you plan to keep growing. But yeah, it was good having you on. Thanks for coming on the podcast. And thank you everyone for listening. These podcasts will be posted every Monday. Make sure you check them out. I'll drop the link in the description for the other podcasts, and I'll also drop Julia's LinkedIn link in the description. So go give her a follow on LinkedIn. Thanks everyone, and thanks Julia.
Thank you, Danny.
Thank you.